Every year, millions of students think the big battle for their board exams is all about memorizing formulas and drawing diagrams. But what if I told you the real battle, the one that truly matters, isn't on the exam paper at all? It's the one happening inside your own mind. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. This isn't just some random quote. It's the shared reality for pretty much every student out there. The pressure, that nagging fear you'll forget everything, those long nights just staring at a textbook, it's a universal experience. So that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to unpack that internal battle. We'll explore a story that shows exactly how to shift your mindset from fear to focus. Because the real test, it's always been about what's going on in your head. All right, so let me tell you a story. It's about a student named Ria. She's in class 10, and she actually used to love studying. But as the board exams got closer, well, something started to change. And her story, it's probably going to sound very familiar. You know how it starts, right? It's subtle at first. Those well-meaning but so stressful questions from relatives. How much have you completed? Suddenly, her progress wasn't hers anymore. It felt like it was public property, constantly being measured and judged. And then, of course, there's the pressure at school. This idea that the exam is some kind of brutal battle for survival where only the absolute best, the toppers, are going to make it. That kind of talk turns classmates into competitors and the whole classroom into a pressure cooker. So what happens when you mix all that pressure together? Well, this. Every night, Ria would sit down with her books, totally ready to study, but her mind would just go blank. This wasn't laziness. She wasn't procrastinating. She was just paralyzed. Paralyzed by the sheer fear of failure. And eventually, it all just boils over. She completely broke down. And that cry for help, man, that's the peak of that internal battle, isn't it? It's that gut-wrenching feeling that all your hard work is for nothing because your anxious mind just refuses to cooperate. It's a moment of absolute despair. But here's the thing. Sometimes your lowest point is actually a turning point. For Ria, this breakdown was the beginning of a breakthrough. Her father stepped in, but not with more pressure or more advice to study harder. He offered a completely new perspective that changed everything. And this piece of advice? Wow, it is a total game changer. Think about it. The exam isn't a judgment of your worth as a person. It's a test of your patience. That simple shift in perspective allowed Ria to stop chasing this impossible idea of perfection and start focusing on something she could actually control: consistent effort. So, with that new perspective, she made these 3 simple promises to herself. And look at these. They're so manageable, right? Just 3 focused hours, not 12 exhausting ones, revising by actually teaching concepts out loud, and taking tiny 5-minute breaks to just breathe and be grateful. This wasn't about adding more work. It was about adding more intention. And get this, the results were almost immediate. Within just 10 days, she could feel her memory coming back, her focus getting sharper. By the end of 1 month, the whole game had changed for her. The noise from all the external competition just faded away. The only person she was trying to beat was the person she was yesterday. It just goes to show you the incredible power of small, consistent steps. Okay, so fast forward to exam day. Let's see how this all plays out. Ria walked into that exam hall and yeah, her hands were still trembling a little bit, but something deep down, something was fundamentally different. Instead of letting the panic win, she just took a couple of deep breaths and whispered this mantra to herself. I mean, how powerful is that shift? She wasn't there to prove her worth to her teachers or her relatives. She was just there to express what she had patiently learned. The pressure to prove anything was just gone. So what happened? What was the result of this new mindset? She scored at 91%, an incredible score by any standard, and proof that her calm, consistent approach really worked. But, and this is the important part, that's not the real win here. Look, 91% is awesome, don't get me wrong, but that wasn't the real victory. The true skill she walked away with was mental resilience. She learned how to manage her own mind in the middle of chaos. And that's a skill that's going to serve her for the rest of her life, long after anyone remembers what she got on this one exam. Okay, so that's Ria's story, but how do we take her lessons and turn them into a practical toolkit that you can use right now? Let's break down those core mental battles and the exact strategies you can use to win them. First, let's get real about what we're actually fighting against. These are the hidden enemies, right? There's the fear of failure, which isn't really about the test itself, it's about the fear of disappointing people. Then there's external pressure, which blows the exam up to feel like it's a judgment on your entire life. And of course, there's self-doubt, that nasty little voice in your head telling you you're not smart enough, no matter how much you prepare. The fix, then, is a really simple but powerful shift in how you think. First, stop chasing marks and start chasing clarity. Just focus on really understanding the concepts. And second, stop trying to copy what the toppers are doing. Their method might not work for you. The goal is to create your own rhythm, one that's sustainable for you. Okay, so when you're feeling totally overwhelmed, how do you fight back? With micro actions. Chunk the monster means you break down huge goals. Don't think, I have to study for the board exam. Instead, think, I'm going to study this one topic for 30 minutes. Use the 5-minute rule. If you can't even face a chapter, just promise yourself you'll read one page for 5 minutes. And honestly, a lot of the time, that's all you need to get the ball rolling. Remember how Ria started using the Feynman method? Well, that's a super powerful form of what scientists call retrieval practice. See, real confidence doesn't come from just staring at your notes over and over again. It comes from proving to yourself that you can actually pull that information out of your brain when you need it. All right, so here it is, your final, actionable checklist for building real, evidence-based confidence. First, use active recall. Second, take mock tests under timed conditions to get used to the pressure. Third, actually analyze your mistakes. That's how you turn a weakness into a strength. And finally, and I can't stress this enough, do not sacrifice your sleep. It's not a luxury, it's non-negotiable. That's when your brain actually consolidates everything you've learned. I want to leave you with this idea. This is the ultimate redefinition of what it means to be a topper or to be successful. It's not about never falling down or never feeling scared. It's about learning how to manage that fear, get back up, and just keep moving forward with patience. That right there is resilience, and that is the real win. So look, the exam paper, it's just a piece of paper. It's not your enemy. Your fear is. You've got the tools now. You know the real story. So the only question left is, what's your success story going to be?